Well, hi, I'm Terrie Strebing. I work for Group Plan Solutions. We're a division of Pekin Insurance Company. I see a few clients. You've got some good news coming your way. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about us because it's going to explain some of the information that I give you later on. We're a TPA division of Pekin Insurance. So we offer self-funding for medical, dental, vision, short-term disability, plus flex, all of those pieces. As a TPA, we keep a lot of data and information on all of our clients. We're located just right over on Court Street. I always say we're like a little hidden gem here because our corporate office, we have 800 employees over there. We have a fully staffed marketing division. We have a mail room. We have a print shop, all of those pieces that we can put together and make sure that we come up with a solution for each of our clients. So the question is, why self-fund? And you've heard some of that come out of the discussion here. Being able to have that data, it's much easier to work with platforms that aggregate data, pull it all together. As a self-funded health plan, you have a lot more flexibility, a lot more options. It's easier to make those changes that we're talking about in this data area, what you find out, use the information, and then you can perform and refine your benefit plan a little bit to adapt to those things that are you find in this data that we're going to go through, that you can get through Springbook, but you can make that work for your employees. Instead of just taking an off-the-shelf plan, you can make your plan work for your demographics. So that's the nice thing about self-funding. We can help you identify trends and things like that. We obviously offer financial reporting. We have to report to the stop-loss carriers each month. You need to know how much came out of your checking account. I mean, it's important to know that on a weekly and a monthly basis. We provide that information, and then I'll explain self-funding is a little bit different. It's just simply a mechanism of funding your health plan. So I like to bring up the fact that, and there's a great demonstration here, self-funding is really a lot like fully insured, but you have more control and more flexibility. You have to have an administrator to pay those claims, do the EOBs, ID cards, all of that stuff. You have to have that when you're fully insured. A carrier does that. There's a cost for that. You have to have protection in there for catastrophic claims, especially when you're self-funded. So we shop the stop loss for you. When you come in, Group Plan Solution works with about 13, 14 different carriers so that we can get that competitive quote. You only have to send one request for quote into us, and we're going to give you a lot of different options on that protection for the catastrophic claim. Fully insured, they have reinsurance and pooling risk. Same thing. On the self-funded side, claim funding is where you have a amount of money that is put aside to cover the claims as they come in, and you basically self-fund. That mechanism for funding works a couple of ways. We have something called level funding, which means you put the same amount of money in the pot each month to cover those claims. If you go over, the carrier comes in, fills that bucket up for you, and then you go on your merry way to the next month. But at the end of the year, if you don't use all of that money that you have anticipated for your claims, that's called surplus. On the fully insured side, they do the same thing. They anticipate what the claims are going to be. They figure that into the premium. You don't get any of that back if you had a better than expected year. So that is called profit. So it really works the same way. There's a little more detail in that when you are fully insured, you pay tax on that whole premium. When you're self-funded, you're only paying tax on that stop-loss premium, which is only about 30% of your overall cost. So obviously your tax saving is there. So there's a lot of similarity similar items there, but there's a big difference in how much control you have, how much information you get, and the choices you get to make for your employees. So when you have the data and the flexibility, oops, I'm going the wrong way. You're able to take these data analytics that we're talking about in Springbuck and make them a secret weapon to help your plan. GPS first started looking for an online reporting package. And we kind of found Springbuck in a way that we didn't expect, because our own health plan, we were looking for some kind of wellness reporting information. And so we work with a lot of different agents, brokers, and Amy, I think it was an Indianapolis agent that told us about this. So we went out and looked, and we saw all the wellness benefits and things like that. But as a TPA, we still need that financial information, that ROI on everything, all the information that goes into how much claims, high claimants, low claimants, all of that. And then we also had a predictive modeling reporting system that our clients could choose. And it so happened that MedAI, when we called to talk to him because we had heard about it, was willing to work with a TPA, and they were looking for TPAs to beta test this. So we've been able to have a lot of input. The dashboards have changed in the last 6 months significantly. There's more and more, because we kept asking, how can we find this? How can we find that? And Springbuck has been really great about adapting and changing that with us. And we're actually going to be the beta tester for their modeling piece of it too. So we're kind of excited about that, where we can take your current plan, run it through, and if you change your deductible or something like that. Because believe me, when I started in this business a long time ago, we had stacks of Excel sheets, data, information. Had to take that and put it into what I called an executive review. What did all of that mean? It took me days to do that. With these dashboards, it puts it in our hands immediately, and we can move that bar to look at different areas and different pieces of information. So data's everywhere, but making sense of it is, and how it affects you and how you can use it to make your plan more cost effective and better for your employees, because that's the bottom line, is you don't want to knee-jerk and make a decision to change something because it's just like staring, but it's really not going to affect your bottom line. So when looking at these analytics, you need to remember that your goal is not only to reduce your costs, but it is to improve your employees' health while doing it. You don't want to make this huge change and not cover specialty drugs or something like that, and then all it does is increase your inpatient stays or compliance or something like that on the other side. So being able to look at this information in a way that puts those wellness pieces in there, how compliant are people, are they taking their A1C test, are they doing that, and your financial piece, and your predictive modeling, and putting it all together, it's super powerful. You're going to be able to get that at Group Plan Solutions. We bake it right in. So around July, you will get that. You will get that. I see several of our clients in here. It's included in our administration fee. So you don't have to make the decision with us if you want to take this or not. And we have groups of 25 or less in some cases that I think this will be beneficial to them. It's going to help you control that cost, find areas that we might need to improve, but we have a nurse case manager. And you alluded to the fact that TPAs or carriers, we're going to use this internally. That case manager is going to jump on to anyone that has an issue, anyone that has a gap in care with a chronic condition, and work with them to keep them moving along the compliance line or moving them to green from the red zone. So we plan on making this available to all of our clients. We're going to have an onboarding implementation call. So Springbuck will be there with us to walk you through all the ins and outs. But I think what you need to know is we're going to take care of gathering all the information, providing the files, getting with your PBM, and getting that sent to Springbuck as well. And then they'll take that information, so all of this data is here. We're going to help you collect it and put it all together. Then Springbuck will help organize it so that we can see that information and make sense of it. And then we're going to take that knowledge and make some plans with you. And Lynn will be able to use this information as an agent. Your agent will be able to use this information to work with you, because really you need that human touch. Once you have all this information, once you have a handle on what it means and how it works, what are you going to do with it? So, you know, Springbuck system is great. We really like it. Adaptive. They listen to us. We're able to take and do more and more with it as we go along. We're able to look at these things in the context of our specific client's plan. So if we know that they're a high deductible plan and we start moving pieces around, we can understand how that's going to affect the actual employee in the end. So knowing the specific plan we're dealing with, pretty important. Also, creating communication and being comfortable with that actionable items that you have there, because maybe there's too many. Maybe you're just getting started and there's so many things you need to attack. Let's prioritize them. Let's make that work for you. And maybe we do a long-term strategy plan here. We attack the easiest thing, the low-hanging fruit at first, or maybe we need to look at that in a bigger picture and take care of the largest item first. But those are the kind of things that you work together with the information to come up with that actionable plans. And then applying that information is probably the hardest step, and Springbuck can't really do that for you. They can give it to you, but then it relies on you and who you're working with to do that. So there's a continuum. Once you've got the reporting, the dashboards, the plan forecasting, and the predictive modeling piece, then you have the decision support piece on there. So you've got to map out what you want to do. Make a plan. Once you know all the information, do you have a situation where you want to implement disease management? This reporting will help you find that out. Do you need to do a wellness program based on the information that you have here? Once you've got those that plan of action in place, then you're going to want to evaluate how much investment do you want in this plan? How much do you want to invest in a wellness program? How much do you want to invest in disease management? How do you want to put that in place? And those are things that you want to take the information, find out how those pieces fit in, and use that to then establish, and we suggest at least a 3-year plan out there, because sometimes you just can't touch every single thing first time around. So you gradually add these pieces. Let's say step therapy might be able to be put in. You would be able to modify generic versus brand type pieces that you put into your plan. You could start a wellness committee at your employment and come up with ideas to improve wellness, cafeteria-wise, contests, anything that you can think of. But you really need to have a multi-year plan to do this. Doing it all in once is going to be painful for you and for the employees to do that. And then you need a management down strategy. You need to have this at the top level of the company. You need to have that support to put this in place. You need to be able to show that this is important to our culture, our company, to make this all worthwhile. This is a continuation because one of the biggest things we've found, now we have the plan, now we have the committee, now we have all the data and the information, but if we can't communicate it properly to the employees, then it doesn't happen. You've got this great big package, and a pretty bow on it. But once you're able to come up with an effective communication program on this, why are we doing it, how are we doing it, what you get out of it is immediate. If the employees understand the benefits of this, it's immediate feedback from you, especially in a self-funded plan, because those claims start changing right away. So some of the things that we found that people don't really understand, and it's crazy. I did a little card for one of our clients of things that can help you control the cost of your health plan. And we sat down and we talked to the employees about why you should stay in network versus out of network. They didn't really understand that you got a big discount as a self-funded plan by staying in network. Not only you paid less, the employer paid less, the plan costs were controlled, and next year's rates don't go up as much. Not understanding, every time I see an ad on the TV about a new drug that's come out, I'm like, I automatically go to GoodRx, how much does that cost? So helping people be aware that not having the newest, highest, most popular drug out there, but one that will do the same thing that might be a generic huge cost saver in there, and they just don't know that the difference is there because they're paying their $10 or their $20 copay. So helping inform them of what you're doing and how you're doing it. ER visits. I will tell you, ERs have to be staffed fully. They have to have the equipment. They have to have the doctors, and I'm glad they're there. But when you have a headache and you go to the ER, we're looking at $3,000 to $5,000. And so just knowing where to get care, I wouldn't want anybody to have a migraine or a headache any longer than they have to, but there's prompt cares, there's doctor's visits, there's things that will save you as an employee and the plan money. And all of those things are important in your communication plan. So, changing behavior is difficult. People sometimes get defensive about their health and what's happening with it, and they think you're trying to control them or go on and lowball them. But if you can help them understand that they're a part of the solution, you've got all this data out there that will help you confirm what you're trying to make that change in there. It really helps you with that plan of action that you go into. And you really can't. You can't manage what you don't measure. We're going to also consider, we'll be using this for when you're self-funded, you have renewals and you have next year's stop-loss contract to make decisions about. That predictive modeling piece in there is going to be huge. We can use it, as you said, for the stop-loss carriers review when you're looking at something that's coming up for renewal and you can't decide, do I want to raise my spec deductible or keep my spec deductible the same? Do I need to change contracts? And we've got something coming or going. You're going to be aware immediately. You're not going to wait for your renewal to come from a carrier. You're going to know going into the next year what to plan and what to budget on there. So we're really excited about this. We obviously put our own plan through this first. We're always the guinea pigs as to how it works, qualifying the data and the information. So we're rolling this out over the next few months. And again, we're excited to see where this is going to take us, what we're going to be able to do with it. And we want everybody, that's why we put it into a no cost to our admin plan, to benefit from it. So if you have any questions. Okay. Thank you.